Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon for the latest film interviews, features, and recommendations on the movies that matter.
Nikkhil Advani, Diya Mirza, so good to see you. I have to say, it's a pleasure to see faces that you know and that you respect and admire. But what a week it's been for this business. What a week it's been for your industry, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, I think the loss has been compounded by the fact that we've been unable to physically reach out to the family members, be there for them. And I think also just being, everything feels so personal right now, Rajeev, everything. And you're just the starkness that we are confronted by of society, of just, yeah, it just makes it all the more difficult. And what extraordinary human beings, what extraordinary artists, what, I mean, I've worked with both. I've worked with Irrfan, Rishi sir, and I did a film many years ago together, but we weren't we didn't share a frame. And there was always this longing that I hope that one day we could work together. And I'll never forget, Rajeev, that, you know, in an industry that seems to have hierarchies, you know, they just exist. Unfortunately, they just do. He was a human being who never treated anybody with any kind of hierarchy. And I'll never forget, about 12 or 13 years ago, he was filming something in Delhi, and I received this message from him. He'd watched a film of mine, and he messaged to say, "Hi Diya, this is Rishi Kapoor, watching this film of yours. I really want to talk to you. Will you call me?" Out of nowhere. And I called him, and that led to a friendship between two people. Like, I mean, I was like you and Nikhil. I was somebody who had grown up watching his cinema, loving him, admiring him, knowing him as a star from a distance. And then to connect with him, artist to artist, at a human level, interact with him over the years, food, alcohol, people, cinema, politics. He was the most, I mean, we've heard now in the last few days how candid, how open, how honest, and sometimes like harshly slow. He could just say things like they are. And in that moment, you'd be like taken aback a little bit. And then you recognize how pure he, I can't say the word is, because I feel like people like Irrfan and Rishi Kapoor, these are not people who can ever die, because they will never leave us. They will never leave our consciousness. They will never leave our idea of identity, of understanding of the world, because so much of their craft and their belief in life and everything that they did will stay with us forever. I know it will stay with me for life.
Nikhil, you worked with both of them, and you worked with both of them in the same film. Of course, you directed Rishi Kapoor previously as well in Patiala House, but then in D-Day, you actually cast both of them. And there's a little video clip and a little photograph from actually that film, which is now becoming the recurring picture that we're seeing of both of them smiling in a car.
Yeah,
what is it like for you?
And Rajeev, somebody actually commented on, it looks as if Irrfan is looking at Rishi Kapoor and saying, "When are you coming? When are you coming? When are you coming?" And then Rishi Kapoor looks back and Irrfan just turns away and laughs. And there's a light that falls on his face. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Diya is saying as far as Chintu sir being totally candid. Everybody knows he was candid and all that. I was, so because of my relationship and because of how close we became during Patiala House, and I don't know what this, I have a knack of becoming this blue-eyed boy. I was first with Sudhir Mishra's blue-eyed boy, and then I became Salman Khan's, and then I became Akshay Kumar's. And I mean, Rishi Kapoor primarily because we were neighbors, and he would just call, his car would be passing by, and he would say, "Where are you?" And I knew at around 8 o'clock, 8:30, he's calling. That means 8 o'clock means the drink is already in his hand. So I would say, "Nah, sir, I'm in editing or I'm somewhere or the other." He said, "I just in your car, just come immediately. Mujhe baat karna hai." And what Diya is saying, I mean, so the next 4 hours would go about talking how shit the Indian film industry is, and you guys don't know anything. आपको तो क्या लगता है? You all don't know how to make films, because invariably some film would have been released on that Friday, which he has hated, okay, or which some primarily which or worse was if it had done well, and he had turned down the role that was offered to him in that film, right? He would just go mad about the fact that how can you be liking such films? See the films that we made. Even our blockbusters used to have gravitas, used to have seriousness, used to say so much. We created the angry young man. This, that. He would go on and on, and I had to listen. By the time it was the fourth drink, he would start calling me boy. He had forgotten my name. He would start saying, "Boy, make me one more drink. Boy, ye karo." And that's when I knew that I have to go. Now I have to leave. Yeah, so I was very close to him. And there is, like Dia said, there's nobody. They were in the same film, but they were just, both of them, they're so different in terms of their lives. One came from nowhere and went to drama school and learned the world cinema and struggled. I mean, a 10-minute role of his was cut in Salam Bombay, and he cried the whole night because of that. He thought, but it also taught him how to take on anything in life after that. The other guy was Raj Kapoor's son. He grew up on the set where he was called Chintu Baba. And he grew up in the world, the lap of the Indian film industry. So, even he doesn't call Raj Kapoor Papa, or he calls him Raj Kapoor Saab. Raj Saab. And Mr. Raj Kapoor. Because that's what, when he grew up, he heard, or everybody around him would call his father that. So they are very, very different. And when they came together, Rishi Kapoor had heard that Irrfan Khan is this great actor. So he wanted to see it. And fortunately for me, they were doing the one scene where Irrfan decided to improvise. And Irrfan never ever gives the same cue again.
Yeah.
And so Rishi Kapoor called me and said, "Usko samjhao, usko acting nahi aati hai. He has to hit his cue. Otherwise, I will not know what to say." So I had to explain to him, say, "So you don't worry. You start speaking whenever you want to speak. You don't worry about him." So they were just very different. But I mean, yeah, it's very special, the film now. It's become more special for me.
So many wonderful memories, and of course we are so connected, and the loss feels so personal, really, and especially when you connected with actors. And I feel like as an outsider, I think we feel it more. I mean, myself and those that don't work in the business, you're only connected to them in a way because of what you see on screen. But I also feel like this feels particularly hard because of, and that's what you touched upon, because of the times that we're in, because of this COVID situation and lockdown. It feels like one isn't able to get closure. One isn't able to reach out to the family. One isn't able to kind of. Do you feel that way as well? Because did you feel like it's weighing much heavier than it perhaps would have if one felt like one was able to say goodbye?
Rajiv, I kept thinking about the fact that Riddhima couldn't even make it to his funeral. And I've been there. I couldn't, I wasn't there to see my father, both my fathers, be buried. And I think in so many ways, for years, it hasn't given me closure, and we all find our ways to cope with it. But you get it, the basic human empathy that we possess as people just makes us feel like just so much more than I think, it just felt god awful that Riddhima couldn't be there, and then also Irrfan losing his mother and not being able to be in Jaipur, and it's so uncanny, Rajiv, how all of this happened in such quick succession. I feel like so much has been happening in the world since November 2019. We've really been, I think, witnessing, and last year was not an easy year in so many ways, environmentally, socially, politically, and it's just gone on. And this time now of us being so cut off physically, and also I think, when you're going to work, we are very privileged, Rajiv. We're still working while we're at home. but just that physical activity of getting out and interacting with people somehow just, and the freedom of movement in many ways just gives you the opportunity to deal with whatever it is you're dealing with, I think, in a better way. And this, being away, being disconnected, yes, I know technology is connecting all of us and it feels wonderful, but the fact of the matter is it's never the same, is it? It's never the same to be physically in person with somebody, give them a hug, just hold them, or have a real conversation with someone. I think this time has taught us, I hope it's taught us this and much more. But yeah, this for sure.
Nikhil?
Yeah, Rajiv, the thing is that I went to Vinod Khanna's funeral with Rishi Kapoor. I went for the funeral, and
Yeah, we were all there.
and he was so upset.
Yeah.
He said that not a single youngster from the film industry was there.
I remember this.
And he was very upset, and he actually tweeted about it, saying that I wish when I die that there will be enough people there to carry my arthi, you know. And when I was seeing the photographs of Ranbir and Alia and all of them, it just broke my heart, because I think that all he so like Yash Johar and like Pran Saab and like Rishi Saab, all of them, they come from a generation where they believe that no matter what happens, they would have done enough good in life that people would fight to carry their coffin. Because Yash Johar would also tell me that a mark of a man is by how many people fight to carry his to be pallbearers. That's the mark of a man, right? And Rishi Kapoor funnily also believed the same thing, same thing he believed, and that is very was for me very difficult to see those photographs, because he would have wanted people fighting for it. He like Dia said, out of the blue, they've done maybe one, two, three. They've done a film that they've not been together, but he would still call her up, right? She would while making yakni pulao, she would possibly think, I should send it to Chintu Saab. He'll call me up and say it's rubbish. It's not made like this in Chembur. We make it like that. You know, but yeah, I think that I was very upset seeing those photographs.
Moving on from that, I want to talk about what y'all, because, and this is one of the reasons to have y'all both on the same conversation. The two of you have been quite active, I've noticed, talking about the environment. Y'all of course play, y'all have your own roles. Dia, I know that you're a UN Environment Goodwill Ambassador. Nikhil, you're on the board and you work very closely with an organization that Bittu Sehgal runs. I know, Dia, you're on that as well. What have been your understandings of this scenario? I've spoken to both of y'all individually, and you've actually shown me a lot of stuff. Nikhil, you've been sending me material. Dia, you've been sending me material. What is going to be the way forward? How cynical or hopeful are you about where we are headed?
Nikhil, you want to go?
So I'm very hopeful. I'm not. I actually I feel bad when people message me, Rajiv, and they say, how are things, yaar? And I said very good. But then I quickly put a this thing. Say I'm sorry for sounding like that, but it's very good because like Dia said, we are very privileged. For us, in fact, I have discovered I don't need to go to the office anymore. I can actually run my office and run writing rooms and do my edits and do everything from sitting right here. This is where I foresee myself cutting down a lot of, because also the kind of stress that we take, Rajiv, is huge by constantly there. We have bad timings, bad eating habits, bad drinking habits, bad this thing. We just don't take care of ourselves. And I think this is something that has taught me. But when I say that I'm hopeful that people should understand that the world, as Dia said, from November things have just been horrible, right? I'm hopeful that people understand that 2 months ago, Dia and I were standing in August Kranti Maidan with placards saying anti-CAA, saying we were saying find out what's happening in Jamia, find out what's happening in JNU. We were talking about things that were really very horrific as far as we were concerned and as far as the constitution of this country is concerned. And Dia is fighting about climate change all the time. She's fighting about nature conservancy all the time. She's talking about saving the children all the time. I'll just give you a statistic, Rajiv. In the 1 month that we have been locked down in Maharashtra, there has been a number for child abuse, which has got 92,000 calls. One number, right? That's the situation that this world is. So the world was not a nice place. Let's understand that. When we are talking about, listen, hey, I wish we can go back to where it started. We should never go back to where it started. We need to understand there's a pause button, and when it unpauses, we must promise that we will never go back to where it was. We have to learn from all those mistakes that we have made. Because I have a 13-year-old daughter Dia's goddaughter, who basically, I mean, she doesn't want the world her to grow up in that world. You know, she gets excited every time I send her a picture of, I think, this is what Kea has drawn, right? So I'm saying that these are the things that we have to promise ourselves that we will never go back to what it was.
I the only thing that I can add to what Nikhil has already said, Rajeev, is the fact that he's absolutely right when he says we can't go back to being the way we were. You know, scientists have been warning about a pandemic like this for over 50 years. There are three things that I would like to mention here, which are things that I think we all need to, at some level, need to become acutely cognizant of. That all human health, all human progress, all human inequality can only be addressed if we bring back the natural balance of the world, which means that we have to understand that all lives, all livelihoods, all inequalities, all these things that we're dealing with can be corrected only if we understand that all health and everything that we are is connected to the environment. Yes, there are social issues. Yes, there are political issues. Yes, there are other many challenges. But you know, for every single person, every scientist, every organization that has done the research, has collected the data, and has been giving it now, making it more accessible to the masses than ever before, courtesy technology, and perhaps maybe some ambassadors like myself, is the fact that you think about whether you talk about gender equality, whether you talk about child abuse, domestic abuse, economic inequality, everything is connected to nature. Everything. And the reason why this pandemic has happened is because human beings have altered 75% of the Earth's surface. In the way we've done business, in the way we've built economies, in the way we've created industries. And no, we cannot go back to being just the way we were. We have to build back better, and we have to recognize the fact that if we do not start giving back to nature, we will continue to be confronted by these issues. And no child, no elderly, no person should ever have to deal with the crisis that the human race is dealing with right now. I mean, there's never been a bigger leveler, has there? The last pandemic that occurred was in 1980. After that, the Industrial Revolution took over, the so-called revolution that has pillaged, plundered, devastated so much of what this planet gave so democratically to all of us. Clean air, clean water, clean soil, clean food. And what did we do to it? We ruined it all in the name of money. So yeah, I mean, I saw a very powerful video many years ago, but the one line in that video was that, you know, maybe people will recognize that we can't continue doing business the way we do when they know that we can't eat money.
So in practical terms, to both of you, in practical terms, what can each of us sitting at home, what can each of us sort of ordinary normal citizen do to make this, you know, to make this change and to make sure that we step into a new world that is in fact respectful of the environment, and as a result, you know, create a better world? I mean, what can we do practically, each of us?
See, Rajeev, this is a question that I ask myself every day. Okay. The fact of the matter is that I'm not a hermit. I don't live in the mountains. I live in an urban society, in a city. I do a certain kind of work, and with every year, as my consciousness or my environmental awareness has expanded, I've tried to implement changes at an individual level, and that keeps evolving. You become more passionate, you become more dogged about what you want to do. But I think the simple things that all of us can very easily do in a heartbeat, with a little bit of discipline, is start with understanding everything that we eat and throw, use and throw, everything that we consume is coming from nature. So let's start. And the moment we acknowledge that, our behavior or our attitude towards what we consume changes dramatically. We can all stop using single-use plastics. We can all start segregating waste at home. We can all find a way to increase a plant-based diet. I mean, if you think about the typical traditional Indian cuisine across states, we make the most amazing variety of dals, of sabzis, of rice. You know, food that is magic to taste, but is what scientists call a plant-based diet. So yeah, follow more of that. Back every natural defender. Support organizations that are fighting night and day to protect biodiversity, our forests, our wildlife. Because if we don't help them now, it's going to be the biggest disservice to our children, and not in the future, in the current date, today. Yeah. So whether it is to campaign, whether it is to write letters, whether it is to just give monetary donations to organizations that support and defend wildlife, do it. I think we all can find ways to do it.
Nikhil, what is the big lifestyle change that you're pushing for, that you're hoping we can make?
So I don't know, Rajeev. I think that I want to. Big lifestyle change. I think that less consumerism. I feel that. I think that's the most important thing. Of course, it's again connected to. I have an SUV which I drive, and my carbon footprint and etc., and carbon emission and all those things, and like Dia was saying, that fortunately for us, 70% of India, and I'm talking only about India, right? 70% of India is vegetarian. They do consume food which is vegetarian. I mean, our sattvic ghar ka khana, dal, chawal, sabzi, roti is very the same. So we don't have the same problems as the West has, which is about the best beef and the best etc., the best cut and all those kind of stuff. We don't have those problems. What we do have problems, where our big problems do emanate from, is we are a third world country, right? And we are trying to progress, and we are trying to show off to the investor that is going to pump in a lot of money to us. So to show that we are progressing, right? And so we need to develop at a rate that, for quote unquote, China is not developing at. So we are, because that's our biggest competition. So so the thing is that in the name of development, we go and do there's mayhem. It's constant mayhem that is happening in the name of development. So where I think the big lifestyle change, that I think there in no election globally, no election, it is not about India, in no election globally can the word climate crisis not exist.
Yeah. Right. Climate action.
It has to be. It has to. If it is not public health, which I think should now become more and more. I mean, come on, the reason that we are not opening up today, okay, yes, we did everything correct, Rajeev. Let's understand that when we decided to lock down this country, right, we decided lockdown before at a time before anybody else had lockdown at that same time. We had very few number of cases and number of deaths, and we still locked down, right? But we are now galloping. Why are we galloping? Because our public health system is zero. Is absolutely. I'm doing a show which for Amazon, which we have done research for 3 years, and where I read these quotes and tweets about people not having gear, not having. They don't have. So there are hospitals in the city of Mumbai, okay, and I'm saying hospitals because Lucknow does not have a hospital. Understand that Lucknow has nursing homes. They don't have a hospital.
Wow, a
Now,
big city like that.
Mumbai city has hospitals in which there is state of the art equipment. They don't have the batteries for that equipment. They don't have the know-how. Nobody has come to them to tell the people how to use that equipment. It's lying there, covered in a dabba. You understand? People have put a gadda on top of that and are sleeping on it. So that is the state of the public health system in this country, right? So my where I come to is that you have, please, everybody needs to understand, you have one thing which is the most power that this country and the Constitution of India has given you, which is the vote. Right? You have to vote about the person like Dia said, who's a nature defender, who's a climate change defender, who is going to be fighting for your public health, who's going to be fighting for you and not for anything else. I mean, why are we all tweeting and saying, wow, Aditya Thackeray, what great work you're doing, Uddhav Thackeray, what great work you're doing? Because for the first time, there is transparency.
Yeah.
Right? What this pandemic and what this crisis has taught even the most hard-nosed politician is that, guys, they can't win something like this without us. They need us to cooperate with them. We have the power. If we decide not to stay at home, it'll be chaos.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing as far as I'm concerned.
No, really, Nikhil Advani, Dia Mirza, I mean, thank you for fighting the good fight. Thank you for fighting, and for raising awareness and really showing us the way. I come away richer every time I speak to you. I hope that this message, and just practical, basic advice that you've been able to share travels, because you're right. I mean, if each one of us doesn't do our bit, it doesn't feel like there's going to be much of a change. Thank you for opening your hearts also about the big losses that we faced this week. I enjoyed chatting with you virtually, but hopefully, when all of this is over, we go back to doing it the old-fashioned way, sitting across and talking to each other, hopefully in the outdoors, in good, clean air, hopefully.
Yes, Rajeev, thank you for making the time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you.
Thank you.